Spirituality without God. Understanding Buddhism's unique perspective. The mystery of a godless spirituality. Have you ever stopped to wonder, can a spiritual path exist without a God? In a world where most religions place a divine being at the center of existence, Buddhism stands apart. It offers profound wisdom, guidance for living, and a path to enlightenment, all without invoking a creator. But why? Why does one of the world's oldest and most influential spiritual traditions reject the idea of a supreme deity? Perhaps you've been told that faith in God is essential for morality, meaning, and salvation. But what if there were another way? What if a belief system could help you cultivate compassion, wisdom, and inner peace without relying on divine intervention? This is precisely what Buddhism proposes. But how does it work? How do millions of Buddhists find purpose, direction, and ethical guidance without the concept of a God? The answer lies in the Buddha's radical approach to understanding life, suffering, and the nature of reality. Unlike many religious founders, Siddhartha Gautama, the historical Buddha, did not claim to be a prophet or a messenger of a higher power. Instead, he presented a philosophy rooted in direct experience, deep introspection, and practical wisdom. He taught that truth is not something dictated by an all-powerful being, but something to be discovered through self-inquiry and mindfulness. But this leads to even more questions. If there is no God, where did the universe come from? What happens after we die? How do we determine right from wrong without divine commandments? And ultimately, if there is no creator watching over us, what is the meaning of life? These are the questions we will explore in this deep dive into Buddhist philosophy. Along the way, we'll uncover surprising insights about the nature of suffering, the illusion of the self, and the profound freedom that comes with letting go of the need for a divine ruler. Whether you are a curious skeptic, a devoted seeker, or simply someone who loves to explore different perspectives, this journey into the heart of Buddhism will challenge your assumptions and open your mind to new ways of thinking about existence. Get ready for a thought-provoking exploration that just might change the way you see the world. Who was the Buddha? The origins of Buddhism. To understand why Buddhists do not believe in a God, we must begin with the life of Siddhartha Gautama, the historical figure who became the Buddha. Born into a royal family around 563 BCE in modern-day Nepal, Siddhartha was raised in luxury, shielded from suffering by his father, a king who wished to ensure his son's life remained untouched by hardship. Yet, destiny had other plans. One day, Siddhartha encountered foresights that would change the course of his life forever. An old man, the reality of aging struck him. A sick man, he realized suffering was inescapable. A dead body, the inevitability of death became clear. A wandering ascetic, who exuded peace, despite having nothing. These experiences led Siddhartha to a profound realization: wealth and power could not protect him from suffering. Determined to seek true wisdom, he renounced his princely life and embarked on a journey of spiritual discovery. At first, he practiced extreme asceticism, depriving himself of food and comfort, believing this would bring enlightenment. But after years of self-denial, he found himself weak and no closer to the truth. Then, while meditating under the Bodhi tree, he attained profound insight, the middle way, a path that avoids both indulgence and severe austerity. In that moment of awakening, he became the Buddha, the enlightened one. From then on, he dedicated his life to teaching others how to transcend suffering, leading to the birth of Buddhism, a philosophy that continues to guide millions around the world today. A story of transformation, the struggle for enlightenment. Imagine a young man named Ravi, born into privilege much like Siddhartha. Ravi had everything: wealth, status, and comfort. Yet, he felt an emptiness inside. No material possession or achievement seemed to bring lasting happiness. One day, Ravi witnessed a tragic accident. A pedestrian was struck by a speeding car. The man's body lay motionless, his loved one screaming in anguish. At that moment, Ravi realized life's fragility. No amount of money could stop time, prevent suffering, or guarantee happiness. Determined to find deeper meaning, he left behind his luxurious lifestyle and set out on a quest for spiritual understanding. Just like Siddhartha, he explored different paths, devoting himself to rigorous fasting, endless prayers, and meditation retreats. But none brought him the clarity he sought. It was only when he embraced balance, a lifestyle of mindfulness, compassion, and inner awareness, that he found peace. Ravi's story mirrors that of the Buddhas. True wisdom does not lie in extremes, but in understanding the nature of suffering and cultivating inner peace. Key takeaways: how this applies to your life. 1. Happiness is not found in wealth or status. The Buddha's life shows us that external success does not guarantee lasting fulfillment. 2. Suffering is universal. We cannot escape aging, illness, or death, but we can change how we respond to them. 3. The middle way is the key. Avoiding extremes of indulgence and deprivation leads to clarity and peace. 4. Transformation is possible. No matter your past, enlightenment and wisdom are always within reach. Did the Buddha believe in God? Unlike other religious leaders, the Buddha never preached about a supreme creator God. His approach to spirituality was pragmatic and focused on what could be directly experienced. Here are 3 key aspects of his views. 1. Silence on God. When asked about the existence of a divine creator, the Buddha often remained silent or redirected the question. His reasoning: speculating about godly existence did not contribute to ending suffering, which was his primary concern. 2. The parable of the poisoned arrow. To illustrate this point, the Buddha told a famous story. Imagine a man is shot by a poisoned arrow. Instead of immediately seeking treatment, he insists on knowing who shot the arrow, what type of wood it was made from, and other unnecessary details. The Buddha compared discussing the existence of God to the scenario it distracts from the urgent matter of alleviating suffering. 3. A universe without a creator. Unlike religions that propose a beginning and an ultimate creator, Buddhism teaches that the universe operates in endless cycles of birth, existence, and destruction, known as samsara. It is governed by dependent origination, meaning everything arises due to cause and effect rather than divine intervention. A story of transformation, the struggle for enlightenment. Imagine a young woman named Myra, who grew up in a deeply religious household. From an early age, she was taught that a higher power controlled everything, from her successes to her failures. She prayed constantly, seeking divine answers to her struggles, but often felt lost when life did not go as expected. One day, Myra faced a devastating loss. Her best friend passed away suddenly. Grieving, she questioned why a benevolent God would allow such pain. No answer she received satisfied her, and she fell into deep despair. Seeking clarity, Myra stumbled upon Buddhist teachings and was particularly struck by the parable of the poisoned arrow. She realized that she had spent years searching for answers to questions that did not alleviate her suffering. Instead of finding comfort in belief, she decided to take responsibility for her healing. Through mindfulness, meditation, and self-inquiry, Myra learned to navigate her grief not by seeking divine intervention but by understanding the nature of impermanence. She no longer needed a God to explain suffering. She found peace by embracing the reality of life and cultivating inner resilience. Key takeaways: how this applies to your life. 1. Happiness is not found in wealth or status. the Buddha's life shows us that external success does not guarantee lasting fulfillment. 2. Suffering is universal. We cannot escape aging, illness, or death, but we can change how we respond to them. 3. The middle way is the key. Avoiding extremes of indulgence and deprivation leads to clarity and peace. 4. Transformation is possible. No matter your past, enlightenment and wisdom are always within reach. 5. Focus on what matters. Rather than speculating about divine existence, focus on actions that alleviate suffering. Morality without a supreme being. Many believe morality must come from a god, but Buddhism presents an alternative perspective. Rather than following divine commandments, Buddhists adhere to ethical principles based on wisdom and compassion. The 5 precepts serve as a moral foundation. 1. No killing. Respect all life. 2. No stealing. Be honest and just. 3. No lying. Speak truthfully and kindly. 4. No sexual misconduct. Respect relationships and boundaries. 5. No intoxicants. Avoid substances that cloud judgment. Unlike theistic traditions, where morality is often seen as obedience to a deity, Buddhist ethics focus on personal responsibility and the consequences of actions, karma. This means that morality is not imposed from above but arises from understanding the impact of one's actions on others. Different Buddhist views on gods. While Buddhism does not recognize a creator god, some traditions acknowledge celestial beings. Devas, heavenly beings, exist in Buddhist cosmology but are not eternal, omnipotent, or creators. They, like humans, are bound to the cycle of rebirth. Bodhisattvas, found in Mahayana Buddhism, are enlightened beings who delay their own nirvana to help others attain liberation. The Dalai Lama, central to Tibetan Buddhism, is revered as a spiritual leader but not as a deity. Although these beings play a role in Buddhist cosmology, they do not function as ultimate authorities. Buddhism places the focus on self-realization and the practice of wisdom and compassion rather than worshipping gods or divine figures. A story of transformation, the struggle for enlightenment. A similar lesson can be seen in the life of Rahul, a businessman who built his wealth through deception. He believed that as long as no one caught him, his actions had no consequences. However, after experiencing a severe personal loss, he turned to Buddhist teachings and learned about karma, the idea that every action has repercussions. He began to live by the 5 precepts, embracing honesty and compassion in his dealings. Over time, his relationships improved, and he found a deeper sense of fulfillment beyond material gain. Key takeaways: how this applies to your life. 1. Happiness is not found in wealth or status. The Buddha's life shows us that external success does not guarantee lasting fulfillment. 2. Suffering is universal. We cannot escape aging, illness, or death, but we can change how we respond to them. 3. The middle way is the key. Avoiding extremes of indulgence and deprivation leads to clarity and peace. 4. Transformation is possible. No matter your past, enlightenment and wisdom are always within reach. 5. Focus on what matters. Rather than speculating about divine existence, focus on actions that alleviate suffering. 6. Morality comes from within. Ethical living is based on wisdom, compassion, and understanding, not blind obedience to rules. If there is no God, what is the purpose of life? Unlike theistic religions, which often define life's purpose as serving God or reaching heaven, Buddhism proposes a different goal: escaping suffering and achieving enlightenment. The path to this is the Eightfold Path, a set of principles guiding ethical living, mental discipline, and wisdom. 1. Right view: understanding reality as it is. 2. Right intention: cultivating selflessness and kindness. 3. Right speech: speaking truthfully and compassionately. 4 right action, acting ethically and avoiding harm. 5 right livelihood, earning a living in a way that does not cause suffering. 6 right effort, maintaining positive mental states. 7 right mindfulness, being aware of thoughts and actions. 8 right concentration, practicing meditation for deeper insight. By following the Eightfold Path, Buddhists aim to free themselves from suffering and reach nirvana, a state of ultimate peace and liberation. A story of purpose and transformation. Consider Liam, a corporate executive who spent years chasing promotions and wealth, believing success would bring happiness. Despite reaching the pinnacle of his career, he felt unfulfilled. One evening, after a long day at work, he met an old friend, Amit, who had spent years studying Buddhist philosophy. Amit shared his own journey, how he had left a high-paying job to teach meditation and mindfulness. Instead of chasing external validation, he found joy in helping others. Intrigued, Liam decided to explore meditation and self-awareness. Over time, he realized that true purpose does not come from external achievements but from inner growth and meaningful actions. Key takeaways: how this applies to your life. 1. Happiness is not found in wealth or status. External success does not guarantee lasting fulfillment. 2. Suffering is universal. We cannot escape aging, illness, or death, but we can change how we respond. 3. The middle way is the key. Avoiding extremes of indulgence and deprivation leads to peace. 4. Morality is self-directed. Ethics arise from wisdom and compassion, not divine mandates. Life's purpose is self-discovery. Enlightenment comes from mindful actions and personal growth. The relevance of Buddhism in modern life. Buddhism, with its profound insights into human suffering and the path to liberation, remains as relevant today as it was over 2,500 years ago. In a world filled with stress, anxiety, and constant distractions, the teachings of the Buddha provide a refuge, a practical guide to cultivating peace, wisdom, and compassion. Unlike many religious traditions that emphasize divine intervention, Buddhism places the responsibility for transformation squarely on the individual. This perspective is both empowering and challenging, urging us to take full ownership of our thoughts, actions, and ultimately, our destiny. Throughout history, countless individuals have undergone profound transformations through Buddhist principles. From ruthless murderers who became enlightened monks to modern professionals finding clarity through mindfulness, these stories illustrate that change is possible, no matter where we start. In this article, we will explore Buddhist teachings through historical and modern examples, delving deep into their lessons and practical applications. The story of Angulimala, redemption through wisdom. One of the most powerful stories in Buddhist lore is that of Angulimala, a notorious murderer feared by all. His name, which means garland of fingers, stemmed from his gruesome practice of wearing a necklace made of the fingers of his victims. Despite his horrific crimes, the Buddha saw potential in him and approached him without fear. A life transformed. When Angulimala encountered the Buddha, he was struck by the teacher's calmness and presence. The Buddha did not condemn him but instead asked him a profound question: if a person's nature is to kill, is it possible to change? This simple inquiry triggered a deep reflection in Angulimala's heart. For the first time, he saw beyond his conditioned hatred and violence. Moved by the Buddha's wisdom, Angulimala renounced his past and became a monk. Though society never fully forgave him, he dedicated his life to atonement and service. This story highlights an essential Buddhist principle: no one is beyond redemption. Change is always possible if we cultivate awareness and wisdom. Application in modern life. Many of us carry guilt or regret over past actions. Whether it's a broken relationship, a moral failing, or past mistakes, we often believe we are defined by these events. Angulimala's story teaches us that while we cannot erase the past, we can shape the future through conscious effort and transformation. Practical steps for redemption. Acknowledge past mistakes without self-condemnation. Cultivate mindfulness to recognize destructive habits. Engage in compassionate acts to balance past harm. Seek guidance from wise mentors or spiritual teachers. The Rich Man and the Beggar, the Illusion of Wealth. In another famous Buddhist tale, a rich merchant, obsessed with accumulating wealth, encounters a beggar who radiates joy and contentment. The merchant, puzzled, asks the beggar how he can be happy with nothing. The beggar responds, "I have everything I need: peace of mind and freedom from attachment." Understanding true wealth. This story highlights a critical Buddhist teaching: material wealth does not equate to happiness. The rich man, despite his luxuries, lived in perpetual anxiety, always fearing loss, competition, and dissatisfaction. The beggar, though possessing little, was free from these burdens. Modern implications. In today's consumer-driven world, many chase financial success believing it will bring fulfillment. Yet, studies show that beyond a certain point, increased wealth does not significantly improve happiness. Instead, Buddhist principles suggest focusing on gratitude, acknowledging what we already have; detachment, enjoying material comforts without being enslaved by them; generosity, sharing resources fosters a sense of abundance rather than lack. Real-life example: the CEO who found meaning. Consider the story of a high-powered executive who, despite his wealth, felt empty. He turned to Buddhist meditation and began practicing daily mindfulness and gratitude. Over time, he shifted his focus from accumulating wealth to using his resources to support causes he cared about. In the end, he found greater fulfillment in giving than in hoarding. Mindfulness in the modern world. Buddhist mindfulness practices have gained widespread recognition for their ability to reduce stress and improve well-being. From corporate boardrooms to prison rehabilitation programs, mindfulness is transforming lives globally. How mindfulness works. At its core, mindfulness is about being fully present in each moment. This practice reduces anxiety by grounding us in the present, enhances emotional regulation, increases focus and productivity. Personal story: overcoming anxiety through mindfulness. I once worked with a young woman struggling with chronic anxiety. She constantly worried about the future, replaying worst-case scenarios in her mind. After practicing mindfulness meditation for just a few weeks, she reported feeling more at peace, able to let go of intrusive thoughts, and focus on the present. Her transformation was a testament to the power of awareness. Practical application. Start with just 5 minutes of mindful breathing daily. Use everyday moments, eating, walking, or even washing dishes, as opportunities for mindfulness. Accept thoughts and emotions without judgment. Conclusion. Buddhist teachings offer a path to inner peace, but they require action. The stories of Angulimala, the rich man, and modern mindfulness practitioners show us that transformation is possible at any stage of life. Key takeaways. Redemption is always possible. No matter how dark our past, awareness and right action can lead to change. True wealth lies in contentment, not possessions. Focusing on gratitude and generosity brings deeper satisfaction. Mindfulness is a practical tool for daily life. Even a few minutes of awareness can reduce stress and improve clarity. Now, I invite you to reflect. What is one small step you can take today to bring more mindfulness, compassion, or wisdom into your life? The journey begins with a single breath. Let's start now. a path beyond gods, the practicality of Buddhism. So, why don't Buddhists believe in God? At its core, Buddhism isn't about accepting or rejecting deities, it's about understanding suffering and finding liberation from it. The Buddhist teachings focus on personal experience, ethical living, and mindfulness rather than debating abstract metaphysical concepts. For Buddhists, the path to enlightenment isn't through devotion to a higher power but through self-awareness, wisdom, and compassion. But what about you? Do you think a religion can thrive without a God? Can morality and purpose exist without divine authority? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Share your perspective in the comments below. If you found this exploration of Buddhist philosophy insightful, take a moment to like this video. It helps more people discover these fascinating ideas. And if you're curious to explore more about religion, history, and philosophy, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a deep dive like this one. This is just the beginning. In our next videos, we'll explore more thought-provoking topics, perhaps the nature of karma, the illusion of the self, or the connection between Buddhism and modern psychology. Stay tuned for more enlightening discussions.